Hello guys, you're welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be drafting a princess that armhole halter neck dress. So I've gone ahead to mark my shoulder line. So from that my shoulder line I came down to my bust point, which is here. Then from my shoulder line I came down to my under bust point. Still from my shoulder line, I came down to my waist point, and then I went ahead to roll a straight line on those points. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to divide my shoulder measurement by 2, which is 16 inches. Divided by 2 will give me 8 inches. So now I'm going to go ahead and place that 8 inches on my shoulder line this way. So I'll mark the point there. Now the next thing I'm going to do now is to come down by 1 inch from this point here for my shoulder slope. Now after doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and connect it this way with my ruler. After doing that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to divide my armhole circumference by 2, which is 17 inches. Divided by 2 will give me 8.5 inches. Now after dividing it, I got 8.5. Now I'm going to place it this way, and then I will mark the 8.5 inches. But because this is a halter neck dress, I'm not going to mark that 8.5 inches. I'm going to minus half inch and then mark 8 inches because I don't want my armpit to be too exposed. You can actually leave it like this if you want. So now after doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and connect it this way. And then I'll also go ahead and connect it this way also. So this line here is going to be serving as my chest line. So let me just quickly label it my chest line. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to divide what I have on this my armhole area. I'll divide what I have there by 2. Then I'll get the midpoint. Then I'll go in from that midpoint by ½ inch. And then I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4, which is 10 inches. I'm going to mark it on my chest line, and then I'll go ahead to connect the armhole area this way first. So after I'm done connecting my armhole area, the next thing I'm going to do is to take my neck wideness, which is 3 inches, and then I'm going to be coming down by 2.5 inches. You can come down by 3 inches if you want, but I made use of 2.5 inches. 3 inches is okay if you want to make use of 3 inches. I just personally want to make use of 2.5 inches. Now I'll go ahead and connect it this way. So after I'm done connecting it, I'm just going to blend this, and then the next part I'm going to be working on is my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 9 inches, I mean to say. Now I'm going to divide what I have there. What I'm having is 4.5 inches. Now I'm going to mark that 4.5 inches from my bust line down to my waist point. Now after I'm done marking it, I'm going to rule a straight line on those points I marked out on my bust point, my under bust point, and my waist point. Now after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to, from this my waist point side, I'm going to take ½ inch from this side, that is the center front. Then for the side front at my waist point, I'm going to take 1.5 inches. Now from my bust, I'm also going to take the same measurement on my under bust point. And then I'll go ahead and connect the points together. So after I'm done connecting the points together, the next thing I'm going to do is to come down from my bust point by 1 inch. I like doing this because it reduces the pointiness of the cup, or when I'm sewing it, I don't want it to be too pointy. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect it this way using my curve ruler to connect it this way. So I'm just placing this very well. Now after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do now is to come back to my armhole circumference. I'm going to measure what I have from this point here where I have my body measurement down up to my shoulder slope point. Now what I have there, I'm going to be dividing it by 2 this way. So just use your tape and divide it by 2 this way so you get an accurate measurement. Now I'm going to be placing half of it this way on my armhole area. Now from this point here, I'm going to connect to my bust point. That's that line at my bust point. Now I'm going to go ahead and do this way. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to take half inch on one side, which is one side of that at my armhole area, then half inch on the other side. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to connect it this way. So just watch what I'm doing closely. Now after I'm done connecting it this way, that middle part is no longer, that middle line is no longer necessary. It's no longer important. Now from this line facing my armhole area here at the down, I'm going to extend it by 1 inch. I'm going to be coming up by 1 inch, placing my tape in a slanted method and also my ruler in a slanted method. Now after doing that, um from my chest line, I mean to say, I'm going to come out by 1 inch. Remember, I already took my body measurement on my chest line, so I'm going to come out by 1 inch. That 1 inch I came out by from this line here, I had to replace it back on my chest line. Now I'm going to go ahead and connect it this way. The reason for doing this is so that you won't be having like shortness of the your fabric when you start sewing and all that. So now after I'm done doing that, this particular armhole area is no longer needed. We now have a new armhole point there. So now I'm going to take my under bust circumference, and after I'm taking it, I'm going to replace that intake of 2 inches. I'll come to the waist point. I'll repeat the same process. My waist circumference divided by 4. I'll place one of it there, and then I will replace the 2 inches for the dart intake. Very important. Now after doing this, I'm going to go ahead and connect it this way. So just watch closely what I'm doing. So after I'm done connecting it this way, I'm going to be adding my allowance of 1.5 inches. You can make use of 2 inches, you can make use of 1.5 inches for allowance, is still okay. Now I'll go ahead and connect this together and then label this my allowance, so it will be very noticeable and you understand better. Now the next thing I'm going to do is just to blend this in this way. Now from my neck area, to create that outer neck effect, I'm going to come to my neck depth. I'll come down by 1 inch from my shoulder line. I'll come down by 1 inch and then I'll connect it to the preferred shape I want. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my pencil to create that preferred shape I want. Then I'll go ahead to hold this way, as you can see, and then I will use my pencil to connect this properly. Now after I'm done doing this, I'm going to use my marker to make that pencil line more visible. And this is it for the halter neck part. Now I'll go ahead to cut this out. They have different ways of cutting halter neck dresses, but this is one particular one that I love making use of. So now I'm done cutting out the front pattern. I'm going to label this my center front, and then I'll cut in fold on my fabric. And then for the side front here, I'm going to label this my side front and then cut times 2 of it. And this is all for the front pattern. I'm going to go ahead and cut out the back parts. So now to cut out the back part, I've gone ahead to mark my zip allowance of 1.5 inches and roll a straight line. Then before I started taking my shoulder points, my chest line point, my bust point, my under bust point, my waist point. Now I'm going to be taking all my measurements from that my zipper allowance line, and then I came down by 1 inch to after I took my shoulder um point. Basically, this is everything I did for the front pattern drafting before I started drafting the bustier area. Now the next thing I will do is to take my nipple to nipple measurement, which is 9 inches divided by 2 will give me 4.5 inches. So I'm marking that on my bust point, my under bust point, my waist point. Mind you, I'm taking every measurement after my zipper allowance, that line. Now I've gone ahead to rule a straight line there. Then from my chest line, I came down by half inch on that line there. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect it this way. Now after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to take my bust circumference divided by 4, which will give me 10 inches. And then I'm going to divide what I have on my armhole area here, and then I'll go ahead to just connect it this way. So I'm not going to be going in at that middle point on my armhole area. It's only at the front I actually came in. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to take that same measurement I took for the front armhole after I finished dividing what I had there. So I just took like that one of the measurement there and then place it on my armhole area and just connect it this way. Now after doing that, I'm going to be taking half inch on my waist point line, half inch on the center back, half inch on the side back, and then I'll go ahead to connect it this way, meeting where my dart leg is stopping at above my bust point. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to take my bust circumference, and then I'll take my waist point circumference divided by 4. I'll replace the dart intake. I'll repeat the same process for my waist point. I'll place my waist circumference and then replace the dart intake there. Now after doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and connect it this way. So now after doing that, I'm going to add my 1.5 inches allowance. Mind you, this is not the sewing allowance, this is just that normal body allowance. So after I was done connecting it, the next thing I'm going to do is just to label this to indicate that part is my allowance. Now I'm going to take 3 inches for the neck wideness. Then I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the neck depth. So I'll go ahead and connect it this way. And then I will extend that line to my zipper allowance line this way. So I'm going to go ahead to create that halter neck effect, but I'm not going to be coming down by 1 inch on my neck area. I'm just going to connect it straight. You can actually connect it straight way. You can connect it in a little bit curvy way. It depends on what you want. So now I'm going to be placing the front pattern paper on the back pattern to make sure I have the same shape of that outer neck. Now I'm going to be placing the side of the like the center front of my front pattern on my back pattern paper. Now after doing that, I'm just going to go ahead and just connect this my armhole area this way. So when I'm sewing it, I'm going to actually blend out any excess I'm going to have at this point. So I'll post the sewing tutorial and you understand what I'm trying to explain. So now that armhole is no longer needed. So this is my new armhole for the back part. And then now I'm going to extend my waist point line to my zipper allowance area, and then I will go in by ½ inch from my zipper allowance point, and then I'll go ahead and connect it this way, and this is to remove bulginess when fixing your zip. So after doing this, I'm going to cut out the back pattern. So now I'm done cutting out the back pattern. So this is my zipper allowance. I'm just folding it in, and now I'm going to label this my center back. I'm going to be cutting times 2. I'm going to label my side back. I'm going to cut times 2. So I'm not cutting the center back in fold, and this is all for my outer neck princess that